Welcome back to Oyo Manchester. This is OromoTime, and for today's episode, we do have the question of: is uni the ideal pathway to everyone's success?
Shanan odatti wal waamne horan bareen tutti dhaamne digni walirra hin hafne lammi walirra hin hafne dhiyaatus fagaatus lafti ilmuun keenya.
Did you go into university thinking, like, having already an idea of what you want to do as a job role, and then work your way backwards, saying, I need this degree to get into this job role? Is that the mindset you had, or did you think, I just like this subject and I want to do it? What was it for you?
I will 100% say I knew where I wanted to end up if I did get the degree.
Yeah. And you check the job requirements and, like, you need to have a degree. Is that what you said?
No. You actually don't need a degree. But this is where I still think. I think within politics, when you have a degree, it does give you a bit of an edge.
Yeah.
You're more respected, even in the normal world.
Mm.
But what you said about just having one module that's actually catering to politics and the rest is just, other stuff. I think for myself, that's what I had as well in my first year of uni. I done international business, which is quite broad. And then you had a module on marketing, module on law, a module on finance. So everything was just like generic. And that is something that I didn't want. And I knew that I wanted to do economics. So that's why I chose like a joint honours in my second year. So I made it like international business and economics. So I get the best of both basically.
Okay.
And that would mean that I wouldn't have to take modules which I didn't like. So I had half modules were economics, the one I chose, and half of modules were like business modules. So I think...
so you're saying that's just something in uni you just have to deal with?
If there's a possibility to change your course, then I think you should. Obviously, if it caters to you, because you said that only one module catered to you and the other modules you didn't really like, then I think it's better for you to just leave the course, because obviously it's not suitable for you. But if you can maybe perhaps choose a joint honours degree where you get politics and history, or politics and something.
I've done politics and philosophy.
Politics and philosophy. Yeah, most of the time. Maybe it's because in the first year they give you a introduction to anything, innit? So when you said like, they were talking about Hitler and Stalin, it might be a
politics and it's not even philosophy.
But it might be a build-up. It might be a build-up into the second year, because at the end of the day, the first year is just get you into the university, get you into doing assignments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what you've learned in your first year might be a build-up for your second year. How were the politics back then when it came to those wars, Cold Wars, World War II and stuff like that? So I think
100%.
perhaps maybe with a bit of patience or just by looking at the syllabus, what is being taught in year 2, what's being taught in year 3, what is my dissertation about, or what can I write about, stuff like that. I think even then you can also cater it already to politics.
And this is why I was saying last time out, I remember, if 2 individuals were to fill out an application form for a job, it's more likely for the one that went uni to get it, because this person has sure to have characters of patience, characters of commitment, sleepless nights. And some people actually go in uni for the sake of with them not even knowing where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
That's a sacrifice. And sometimes an employer would just want to give it to a person that went uni simply because this person has sacrificed a hell of a lot, for him to actually... This person could have zero, what's it called? Zero IQ, but he would still want to think that this person is more than capable of taking the job because of the
degree completed.
Because of the degree completed, or the fact that he completed, I think.
Or what it took to complete it.
And 100%.
What it took.
Do you agree with that?
No, I would disagree with that one. I think if I put myself in the shoes of an employer, I look at a candidate and I think, can this person make me money? That's the first thing that's in my head. So if I have a job role, I think to myself that, does this person have the experience? Can he do the job at hand? So I wouldn't care whether he's done university or he's not done university. I think, has he got experience? That's the number one thing, because the more experience he has, the less I need to spend training this person,
100.
and the more likely that he's capable of doing the job. That's why you see a lot of these companies, you know, if you look at Google and Facebook, they've stopped even caring about whether you have a degree or not. They don't care about that. It's not even part of their application process anymore.
Because the founder himself
they'd
doesn't
rather-
have a degree.
Yeah, they rather that you have a portfolio of the work that you've done, and this within the tech industry. So, they'd
Well,
rather-
you see, the thing is, like, what you're saying now, as an employee, you'd rather have someone who had, like, what can he bring me?
yeah.
How is it that in most of the job applications that we see now, they require a degree? Or they say, oh, you gotta have a minimum 2-1.
Yes.
Oh,
To be a
yeah.
manager, you have to have at least. You know, a degree.
So, what you're saying, is that reality though?
Or if you don't have a degree, you've got to work 10 years at least at that
Yeah, or
same
like
company.
5 years of
Which-
work experience
exactly.
or stuff like that.
And that's my point. Like, I'm not saying that employers would rather have a degree over work experience. It's just, I mean, if the employer is looking for 10 years of work experience, that still goes to show that it shows loyalty.
Yeah.
It brings certain characters to the table that gives you a bit of an edge over the rest. Now with uni, with nowadays students, the reason why I think there's so many dropouts is because people don't really have these qualities of patience and, you know, commitment, desire. Kids do not really possess these qualities nowadays.
But do you believe that these qualities, like the only way you can get them is through university? Do you think it's worth paying 40k to get those qualities? Or you
Yes.
can get them through a part-time job. You can get them through volunteering in the community. Most of these things that you've said, like
Independent
patience.
learning.
Yeah, there's so many, and that's the most important thing, independent learning, because that's the reality of the workforce. When you go to work, there's no one spoon-feeding you. There's no one telling you this is the task or whatever. It's more like, this is the goal that I have as a company. How are you going to research? How are you going to use your skills to help me? So it's not you sit an exam. There is no exams in a job. It's all, every circumstance is unique.
But
So
if
that's why
you're-
you have to have the skill to research.
If you're like teaching yourself,
Yeah.
how would you know what you're learning is right? Do you know what I'm saying? Because if, like you said, if I put myself in the employer's
Yeah.
position and I see this person's got experience and this person's got a uni degree,
Yeah.
I would think to myself to give it to the person who has the uni degree because of what they did. You know, this person, they took a huge risk and they did yes, they got the experience and you know, but this person took money, time, and did exams. You know, and for me, just to give to that person when this person worked a bit more harder, I would feel kind of, you know, guilty. You know, like so. That's why I would say uni shows that character to your employer to tell them, oh, you spent this amount of money, and I won't be able to pay it back if you don't hire me. I'm relying on you trying to give me this job, you know. So that's why I would say uni is important.
Okay. You know, the thing is about university as well. It's like, it's become so generic. Like everyone has a degree. Everyone goes through this process. So I don't see it as a distinguishing thing. Like there's so many people that go university, the amount of people that go there, I don't see it as something special. And that's why people try and say, oh, now you've got your bachelor's, go get your master's, go get your PhD. You're just learning, but you're not getting experience for the job required.
Whose fault is that? Because isn't that what we're taught to do once we're in sixth form? Aren't all the teachers talking about, okay, now we're going to do our UCAS statements and stuff like that, you know, now we're going to prepare for university.
Yeah.
And it's as if we're pushed into university, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where can we lay the fault? Where does it come from? That's a
good question, man.
That's a question we've got to ask ourselves. Because is it the right path? Is it the best path? I would say for most of us it is, because in order for you to succeed in life without university, you need to be very determined.
Yeah.
And as an 18-year-old, you know, there's all kinds of distractions, you know, around you. So can you expect that from an 18-year-old to just grind by himself? Whereas when you're in university, you have deadlines, you have people you work with, exams, tutors that give you feedback They want to kind of mold you in those 3 years into becoming a better person. A lot of students here in the UK, they move to a different city, and they go in halls, and you know, so you also see that those kind of students, they tend to mature a bit more in comparison with the people that just stay at home as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
They do their job, they live at their mom's house, and you know, life just continues like that. So I think if you look at the path as an 18-year-old, what's the best path to go is, I would say it would be university, because the path has been paved for you, as someone else said earlier. The path has been paved for you, and you can also see that if you look at these syllabuses, you can see that, okay, once you've completed this kind of course, you could find jobs in that kind of field. So it gives you like something to think about as well.
Okay, but are we going to university for the knowledge, or because this is a requirement to get the job? That's what I want to get clear. Because if it's the knowledge, that knowledge is available on the internet. Like, they don't have any special knowledge in the university that's not accessible on the internet. I would agree with you fully if this was 100 years ago, where all the knowledge were in books and with certain people that you'd have to go study with. We have the internet now. We've got access to everything. If you look at, like, even now, the way you studied your GCSEs, or I did personally as well, like, I didn't learn anything from university in lectures. Like, that was not my style of learning. I couldn't sit there 2 hours and a guy just speaking to me. I would just fall asleep. So I used to go back home, go on YouTube, and learn the whole subject and hear it from maybe 10 different people, and to a style that suits me best. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I taught myself all that stuff. So what did university really contribute?
That's a good point.
I don't think, like, I think we're in an age now where, like, knowledge is open source. You know, it's just everywhere. It's just accessible. That's what the internet is. The internet is basically breaking down all these institutes that are trying to make money out of us.
That's what you're saying. Uni is.
That's why I see it, because of the cost. Yeah.
So let's say you want to become a doctor, a surgeon. What would you do then?
Well, it depends. It depends what fields we're talking, right? So the tech field, I would definitely say don't go university.
What would you say?
I done biomedical science.
So you definitely need.
For biomedical science, I wouldn't say, like, if you want to become a biomedical scientist, it is required to do the degree, but nothing within the degree really helps you to do the job. Because when you do because the thing is, the material that we were taught in biomedical science was so outdated. It was old practices. When you actually go to the hospitals, and when I done my first placement, they were using all these new machines, new techniques. Nothing that I learned in university was applicable in the actual place. Because if you think about the NHS, they're constantly changing every year. There's new technology coming in. There's new things, and the universities are teaching the same thing for 20 or 30 years. So how are you expected to know when you start your job? You're basically starting from scratch. You're learning things from scratch again. So I don't see any, like, benefit in that sense. Yeah. So what are you learning that's so different in university from what you've been doing for 16 years? Like, during the 16 years, you've been sitting exams, just learning material, and I don't see anything. You're just carrying this on for another 3-4 years, but instead of it being free, you're paying 30k for it. There's nothing unique you're learning at university.
You're making a point, but what I will also say is that when you go university, it's not just university. It's not just studying. Like, you go 12 weeks first semester. You have your Christmas holidays. You could go another 12 weeks. You have a lot of months in between. So what people tend to not do is actively look for apprenticeships or internships, 3-month internships, because these are the things that will enhance your CV, where you have a degree alongside an internship. And most of the times these internships require you to be already a second-year student in university. Not only that, some courses, they will have a sandwich year where you go a year in industry. Okay, so this year in industry is tailored towards your degree. So once you're in your third year, in a 4-year degree, you do your year in industry where you work, and you see, if you look at the stats, you see most of the time that people who have done that year in industry could return back after their 4th year, after they've done their dissertation.
Yeah.
They could return back and do the same job they were doing.
Yeah.
So you can also see that this is already leading them into a job. So that also, that is something that I definitely advise to people, like look into courses which offer you a placement year. Look for courses that definitely encourage you to look for internships in the summer, because these kind of things will enhance your CV. You have stuff to talk about in the interviews you're going for.
Yeah.
And another thing is that 2/3 of the UK jobs right now is service based. So we're going towards a service technology. You see it with tech, you know, the financial hub in London. All these things are service based, and we need knowledge for that. And you might say that everything's readily available on the internet. It's absolutely true, but some people need guidance. Some people need frameworks of, okay, what am I meant to do? What stages do I have to go through in order to become a financial accountant or investment banker? You get what I'm saying? So
Can't you get that through networking?
let's talk about networking. When we go to university, are you now with a lot of people? Are you know with a lot of people in your class? You have different modules with different people.
What people?
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
You have career fairs where you speak with employers. They come there, they advertise
The whole
themselves.
first week is just based
Exactly, freshers fair.
Freshers,
Yeah, they advertise themselves. They say, okay, come apply for us and stuff like this. So I think that once you do your business projects with your employees, how many times do you see like big CEOs who have startups with a classmate? How many times do you see that? A lot of times. You see big CEOs who have a startup and they've started a company with their classmate. They found themselves in a class.
Yeah.
And this is one way of networking. You go to university, you have, even once you finish your university, you know, with the alumni,
Yeah.
you have alumni fairs, and then that's how you basically get to talking as well. Now I ask you, as a 18-year-old, how are you supposed to network?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think we've got LinkedIn and stuff, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
we've got-
but LinkedIn
there's
definitely.
websites. I think networking is a more formal way of just saying, like, getting to know people, right? I think throughout life you get to know people, volunteering, wherever, like in our Islamic, we've got massages that we go to.
Yeah.
We've got people. We know people in the community. And we can ask them what they do, what their careers are, and stuff like that. And these are things we can organize ourselves anyway. Like even the Somali community, they've been here longer than us, right? You've seen stuff where they have like Somalis in tech. They've got like Somali on LinkedIn. They've got all these things where they're all helping each other.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a much better way of networking than us networking with those just, you know, Frangie people, you know what I mean? So this would be much more beneficial for us.
Yeah, but to like help your point, like I would, you know, the Frenchies where they usually get into what their father usually do, you know, and they get networking through their father. You know what I mean? Like, their mother, you know, their parents. That's why I say some Frenchies, they don't go into uni, they just take over their parents' position.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is nepotism. It's something we see a lot.
A lot. Because in my class, in college, I was only a black boy, and I was doing a carpentry and joinery. You know, we were doing roofs, and then I've done mine. You know, 1 week ahead. Okay, and there's a new kid that comes into class, and he's friends with the teacher. The teacher knows him, and after 1 week he's got an apprenticeship, and I'm confused because companies come to college and look for kids, you know, and think to take on. And I've been there for a while, and I didn't get one. I'm confused. And I'm going and applying. I'm both at home. I did 1 week everywhere, and just didn't happen to get it. So I was like, that's why I didn't go to. You know, it's very hard.
But that's the reality of being like first generation, right?
Yeah.
Like we can study as much as we want, but we don't have the connections. But once we do get that first opportunity, we can help others out within our community.
That first opportunity could come with a piece of paper that says he's graduated in this. Whereas if you don't have that, it might be more difficult to get your foot into a door somewhere else.
Okay, what about myself then? I graduated biomedical science.
Yeah.
I'm
Graduate,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm working in tech now.
Yeah.
How did my degree benefit me?
Not necessarily, definitely not your degree, but
The contents of my degree, the
The
4
content,
years
no.
that I
So
done.
what do you
No.
know? Tech. What is that?
Okay, no, so I graduated biomedical science and I'm working as a cloud engineer now. So within IT, basically,
Okay.
right?
How did you even get into that job with the band? Do they not need someone that's got?
Yeah, that's exactly countering his point. The thing is, what they looked for, they had their own program, so they were looking for people like graduates and people with a passion for tech.
Solely just graduates.
Not solely graduates, because I had people that didn't graduate that are in my program as well. But that's the tech. They basically, my program is to diversify like the tech industry. So they try to get people from different backgrounds, people that didn't take traditional routes of university. Example, some did, but some didn't. So and they know they're ahead of us. They're understanding this, like the way these big companies like Google and stuff, that a piece of paper is not that important, but the passion is most important. See, they check they have their own tests. You know, they do their what do they call them again? Those entry tests. Assessment. They check the ability of the person. They check his passion, and they know that okay, if we can train this person, he's going to be working for our company. He's going to benefit us in the
But why would you need
long
the
run.
test?
Yes.
Because if you went to uni, you do amazing on that test. Do you know
but
what I'm
what he means is
No.
that even though you didn't go uni, with those tests they can determine
Oh,
whether
where-
this guy
where
would
you're
be
mentally-
suitable.
Yeah, it's more like numeracy test and
Okay,
IQ test.
But my problem is like it's a great initiative from the company you work for. How many companies do that? Only the top of the top do that, where they maybe it's kind of a PR stunt as well, in my opinion. Sometimes you see that these big companies, they want to open it up for everyone as a PR stunt. But the majority of us will not be working for the biggest companies,
Yeah.
like because there's just not enough space. So you see a lot of smaller companies, especially in tech, they would want someone who studied computer science.
But what do you think about that point that I said earlier? The actual content. So I done biomedical science.
Yeah.
4 years. I learned something completely different. I'm in the tech industry now, and I'm doing fine.
But did you not use problem-solving skills from biomedical science?
That's exactly what I was just about to say. But
Yeah, I did.
I think
Problem-solving, you have loads of transferable skills.
I think
But I felt like I learned those skills already in school.
no,
in
but
A levels.
I feel like you can start them off in school, but you develop.
He's
most of
developed
these-
them in university.
Yeah, in uni.
He's
And
developed
that's what
them
I'm
in
saying. Like,
university.
people view uni as a thing where you just solely learn about the modules that you're given, or the modules that consist. But half of the times, really and truly, we don't even check what modules we're studying. Like I went for politics and I didn't even check.
Exactly.
Both times I went uni, I didn't check what is it British politics, is it contemporary politics, is it?
This is a big problem.
You know, we never check.
Yeah.
No student actually checks.
Yeah.
They just want to go to any uni that accepts them.
Exactly.
And then now, subconsciously, or unconsciously, we don't even sort of know that what we're getting from uni is more than just the modules, but rather life skills as well.
Okay, I said this earlier about life skills as well. I think we give too much credit to universities for life skills.
Oh no, 100%.
We're giving too much credit for things that happen naturally to an individual growing up. You know, from 18 to 21, the brain develops naturally. The things you get from experience is a part of maturing. We're giving this credit to university, saying, university is the one that enhanced our problem-solving skills. University is the one that taught us how to be independent. These are things of growing up. This is a part of biology. You're trying to tell me that person didn't go to university, he doesn't know how to be independent anymore. Like his problem-solving skills are zero.
No,
but do you not think
he was saying something before where they need that discipline, right?
Yeah.
You know, like as an 18-year-old, your mind, you're doing this. You know, you're as a 16-year-old, as a 14-year-old in school, they teach you discipline, but your mindset is different to when you're 18 to 20. You know, so that's why you have to keep improving each and every time. He was saying like, and the way as your education, as you grow up, the education and what you learn needs to grow up with you.
And the freedom becomes greater as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Because year 12, you know, your teacher is behind you. Your teacher is just chasing you every time.
Yeah.
But maybe first year, your lecturer might be chasing you. But third and fourth, maybe second and third year, teachers don't care about you no more.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to mature as well. And you're making a good point. Like you mature naturally. But for example, when we go back to the thing that you said about you doing you're working in a whole different field.
Yeah.
During your assessments, you have used maybe like unconsciously, like things from your degree, especially when it comes to like
So transferable skills.
yeah, transferable skills that you would have said in an interview. Would you have not? Like, would you have not like showcased what you've studied in university?
Yeah. But the thing is, okay, I'll give you an example of a skill that's very important in work. Okay, everyone knows that communication skills is the most important thing, right? My degree, I can probably count like in a handful the amount of time we presented, the amount of times we've done that. There was hardly any. Maybe once a year in one module, I would present something. When those things are so important, if you actually present consistently, you become more confident, you can communicate better, and those things would actually help you in university. Another thing is teamwork. Like same like.
But that depends per course, right? Because with me, like a business and economics related degree, it was every time. It was literally almost every module I had to present something, whether it was in a team or it was individual.
Okay.
And maybe because what you studied is more individual.
Yeah.
That's why it was catered like that. Don't you think so?
That makes sense,
Just because you went into another field doesn't mean that biomedical science course has to tailor for you.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I think that might be a reason why you see presentations less in a science environment.
Okay, but then again, each university as well, like you have one course that's taught differently by all the universities, and this is a topic that I wanted to touch on as well.
Quality.
Not all quality of universities.
100%.
We're paying the same thing, the same price for all the universities. There's 100-something universities in the UK. We're paying 9k for all of them. Is Oxford equal to, like, I don't know, another lower university?
Absolutely not.
Do Oxford students pay the same amount as?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Maybe a bit more.
Maybe a bit
But
higher.
let's
but
just
around
say,
the same.
if we just take out Oxbridge, yeah, the rest is all 9,250.
Yeah.
And that is something.
Employers do look at what uni came out from.
Yeah, and that's a very good point what Abdulrahman just touched upon. That is something I 100% agree with him. The quality of university, the majority of, not the majority, but a lot of university, a lot of universities, they just cater for everyone nowadays. It's become like a business where they just want to rack in that 9,000 a year, and the quality of teaching has gone down. So that is something that is really true, and it's sad to see as well.
So would you say the quality of teaching has gone down due to students? Well, in uni, as a student, you don't really pay much attention to what's going on in class anyway.
No, I say the uni itself's fault, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, being greedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not caring enough.
And the universities
I
know
think
that.
we have to meet in the middle for this one. I wouldn't solely blame it on the uni.
If the uni is not doing a good job to, if the, let's say right now he said at his job place they have new techs, they have, if uni is still teaching the same thing back in the day, if they had that new tech or anything, wouldn't that be more interesting?
100%.
But yeah, well,
So does funding play a part in unis? Like, I mean, Bolton's in the bottom three. Is that because it's a deprived town?
I'm not sure.
Deprived town?
I'm not sure why it
the
is.
more uni gets.
When you look at entry
I was saying this
requirements,
before. Oxford. There's a reason Oxford is not in Bolton and is in one of the richest parts in London.
they get funding, I think, don't they?
Yeah, the higher.
They go to rich people
exactly.
to get funding, charity, so the rich people look good. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
there's no way a student that goes to Bolton Uni is going to be interested in what they teach anyway, because the system's not being fixed like that.
Why are these students going into these universities then? If you're saying they're not interested, why are they going into these universities? Because I think personally that they're being told, and this is what you said earlier as well, they're being told to make a decision at 18, when they're not ready,
Heavily influenced.
they're heavily influenced, a strong bias. The whole way since they've been in education, their parents have been saying to them, you need to go university. Schools have been saying, you need to go university. When you're in sixth form, it's time to do UCAS. This is your deadline. And you as a 18-year-old, you're not ready to make these kind of decisions. You're just thinking, okay, I need to complete this deadline, which is UCAS. Okay, I'll just go university. All my friends are going university. And the thing is, it's not just a decision of, okay, I've wasted 3 years. There's money involved. There's people, they're pushing you into debt, especially if you're not confident and you don't really want to do that subject, and you just end up picking it because you're not sure, you don't know what else to do. You're 40k in debt by the time you're 21 or something. And how is that? That's the fault of the partly the parents and the teachers as well. The whole system. I wouldn't blame an 18-year-old for that.
I think regarding your question, I think it just comes down to the fact that from a young age itself, there's always someone it's in your nature to obey.
Yeah.
You know? From a young age, you're obeying your parents, and then you go into school and you start obeying your teachers, and it's as if your mind is being programmed to obey. That there's always someone up there that you have to listen to. You're being directed. There's someone out there that's your guide. That's your guide, basically.
Yeah.
And they're programming you into this world of work where even when you get into the world of work, there's your boss, there's your manager, and you have to listen to that person.
Yeah.
There's always that hierarchy. Karl Marx was saying this. You've done economics? You've read on Karl Marx. Yeah, so very interesting theory. Starts it not just on education, but just this whole system.
Conforming to society.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, you look at back in sixth form days when you were in sixth form and you haven't applied to uni. It's as if you feel
You've
left
done something
out.
wrong, yeah.
Exactly. You feel left out.
Yeah.
Or you
They really question you.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's as if you've already failed.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, they sit you down in sixth form.
Yeah.
Like, why haven't you completed it? What's going on?
Mm.
There is no such thing now. Do you want to become an entrepreneur? Have you got a creative side? Do you want to work in music or something else that is not within academia? They don't accept that. They're like, this is not the right way.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, uni asks for a lot. It asks for a lot of different characters and different personality traits. You know, loyalty, patience, sacrifice, determination. That some of the kids are not willing to do that, and they're looking for the quick way of. Let's not forget everyone's. Some people most of the students. Some of the students nowadays just wanna make money.
Yeah.
And does uni make you money? Will uni make your family stable, etc., etc.?
I'd say that statistically, a person that's been to university will have higher chances of earning more than someone who hasn't. That's statistically.
Right, 100%.
But I also think that when it comes to our community right now, the Oromo community, how do we elevate? How do we elevate? Can we elevate with education? Surely. So I think that if because at the end of the day, how do we increase our development as a community? Like, we have people that are in software, we have people that are in media, we have accountants, nurses. This is how you build a community, and these things are being taught in university. So I think that definitely for communities who have just come here, you see first, second generations, I think is really good for them to go into higher education and build like a community of well-educated people, because the educated workforce is always better than a non-educated workforce. You always have more possibilities to do.
Well, it also depends what field we're talking about, right? Like, we already touched on upon it a little bit. Like, maybe the tech field is more catered towards people that are self-taught.
Yeah.
Medicine, you said,
Obviously,
you
gotta
have to go through
more,
university
Yeah.
laws or so. It really depends what degree you do as well for us to say this is like a waste of time or whether it's worth it or not.
No, what would you say about the alternatives? Are the alternatives being pushed enough? Like we need a lot of vocational trades as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think the government is pushing that out too much. If you look right now on the Gov scheme, and you look for apprenticeships, that's not many out there.
Not that many.
Why is that? That's a problem in itself, because that in itself makes a community too. Tradesmen, people who are chefs, people who are plumbers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and these kind of occupations make a lot of money. That's something that people forget.
Yeah.
They make a lot of money as well. So university isn't the only way of making money.
But you know, I don't know if I knew that yet. But I remember when I was in sixth form, and someone said to me one time that, okay, I'm looking to apply for apprenticeship. The first thought I thought in my head was like this guy is not serious. You know, he doesn't want to achieve something in life. Why is he not going to university? What's wrong with him? That's what I thought, because it's been pushed in my head so much that university is the
only way.
It's the only way and the best way, and you're going to do well in life if you go to university. If you do anything else, it's bad. And that's like, that narrative gets pushed into you so much. So that when someone tries to do the alternative, like you're saying, they're seen as an outcast. They're seen as someone that, okay, this guy is, he's not going anywhere in life.
And this is definitely something that needs to be pushed by the government in terms of making it more available for us. Because otherwise, you will see people who go to universities, they don't want to go to university. They will end up with debts, and they will end up working in any kind of job, that you don't even need a degree for. So that's like, if we talk about the money, is it worth it? Like 9,000 a year for what you get right now. Like, people do a masters like 10 to 15,000 during Corona, so they're just sitting at home. Is it worth it?
I think that exposed it even more.
That exposed it hard.
I'd say it's not worth it, but I would still push my child to go into this, because
it's the right thing to do.
No, but like, for example,
It's not because it's the right thing to do, but because it's not the wrong
it
thing
will
to
keep
do.
them from straying.
Okay,
That makes sense.
Say that again.
It will keep them from straying in a way of like,
Yeah, so it's
That-
not the right thing, but
That
it's
depends.
not the wrong thing.
You go come uni is a...
That depends.
to go take them to school, college, and then tell them go to uni. But because I would for me, for someone to break out that mentality takes a good strength, to find yourself. I want my child to go through that level of challenge, because I say people find themselves at 21, 25, people start careers at 30,
Yeah.
definitely. So if your child has been disciplined for that many years, he knows the mentality of how to, not what to do and what not to do, and to go maybe start his own thing, because he knows the mentality of a follower, or like someone that's been pressed to do something, if you get what Ibi was saying,
Okay.
So that's why I would say this level of discipline and like pushing a child to do something is good, because it stops them from doing drugs, or because Ibi said they want to make their money quick. Where are they going to find that? Instagram, Twitter,
Nafas damne namas damne chapasena laman cham.
He said how when if like most people don't look at it, like he said, like when you look at what modules you're gonna study, but if you are clever, you can go onto every uni page, whatever course you're doing, look at each module, and you can teach yourself with those modules on your own. Like if you're really
That's
clever.
exactly what I've been doing with IT.
See?
I looked at a computer science degree. I looked at what subjects